When you're not taking a test at school and you try to get a hold of your friend, but you don't have a way to get a hold of them because you only have his or her phone number, home phone number, and not their cell phone number, the best you can do is just like come to their house, and if you come early, you can always hang out with your friend and stuff. And then if you do end up going to school early when you're not taking tests, you can always ask if you could go to another classroom and hang out there until the testing is over or until your first period begins. That's what I did. Hi everybody, it's Mena. Welcome back to my channel, or if this is the very first video that you're seeing of me, then welcome to my channel. Please be sure to hit that subscribe button down below if you didn't already. I post every day of the week for a while. And today in this video, I have a knit with me story time. I'm knitting a project here right now. And today's knit with me story time is going to be the time that I accidentally went to my friend's house way too early. And I was trying to get a hold of him to let him know I was not going to be coming to school till later because I wasn't taking a portion of the testing we were doing for the SATs. I'm sure you guys all know what the CST, I think that's what it was called. The CST, we were taking, because it was like the CST, it was the California State Test. I know we don't do it anymore but this was when it was a paper and pencil test. I mean, later on it was done just on a computer, but nowadays we don't do the CST. So we were taking the CST at the time. It was around May. And I went to his house super early because I was trying to get a hold of him, but his home phone was disconnected, and I didn't have his cell phone number, so I walked over to his house early, which he normally would hate, but he was totally fine with it because he had just showed up at the house and we were just hanging out, talking and sitting on his couch. And we hung out for a bit before school started because our school didn't start till later. So this is a story just to teach you guys, if you ever get to your friend's house early and you try to get a hold of them to let you know that you're coming later to school, you can always just do your best to try to get a hold of them. But if you can't get a hold of them because you only have their home phone number, not their cell phone number, the best you could do is just go to their house early and just hang out with them for a little bit if they're okay with it. And then you can just hang out with them until school starts. So that's the best that I did. So I'm gonna get started and I hope you guys enjoy the video. So I think this one started, one second. So this all began about 15 years ago. I was a sophomore in high school. It was the week we were doing our SAT, CST. I'm sure you guys all know what the CST is. It's the California State Test. Look at me waving my knitting needle around. Anyway, so it's the California State Test. It was the week my school was doing it. And my teacher had told me I was not taking the math portion of the test. I don't know why they didn't have me take the math portion of the test. Maybe because they probably wouldn't do well on it. I don't know. It was weird. They didn't have me take it, the math portion of the CST. So I'm sure you guys don't know what the CST is. It's the California State Test. Schools don't do it anymore. They stopped them after COVID. My school did them until maybe my senior year in high school. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I already have a 2-in-1 story time about when I took the CST, and I'll link that down below if you didn't see. And I wasn't taking the math portion, so I decided to call my friend to let him know, but I don't have his cell phone number. I only have his home phone, and unfortunately his home phone was disconnected, so there was no way for me to get a hold of him. So I walk over, show up to his house, and I was really early, which I felt kind of bad because he hated when I showed up early, but he was totally fine this time because he was just hanging out with his sister and playing video games, and he had just gotten there. And I told him I was trying to get a hold of him to let him know that I wasn't coming to school till later because I wasn't going to be able to walk to school with him because I wasn't taking the math portion of the CST. And I felt kind of awkward showing up at his house, but he was totally cool with it. He was having he said it's fine if I hung out with him for a bit before school started. Sorry, my dog fell off my bed, so I'm picking it up. So anyway, so I hung out with him while he was playing video games, and we were just talking and stuff. And then it gets to the time where we have to get ready to go to school. So we go to school. We're getting to school, and we do a quick pit stop at Safeway. And he goes to buy himself something to eat because he didn't have breakfast this morning. And so he asked if I wanted anything, and I said, no, thank you, I'm fine. I had already had breakfast that morning. So I was just hanging out with him. We went over to Safeway. We were just hanging out, and then we walk over to school. And then we get there, and then I walked into the classroom where my teacher who's giving me the CST is, and she reminds me, Mena, you weren't supposed to be here. And you were... you're not taking the math portion of the CST. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean, I just showed up at school and because I felt comfortable going early, because this was when I didn't have a concept of time and I didn't understand how concept of time worked. So my teacher, sends me to an Act Life Skills class while they're taking the math portion of the test, because she had called the teacher to ask if I could hang out in the classroom until the math portion of the test was over, which he was fine with because I was a TA in that class my freshman year. So I go into the classroom and I'm hanging out with everybody, talking to everybody and having a good time. And I hang out there until the bell rings for our class break. And it kind of pretty much kept me busy while I was waiting for the other students to finish their math portion of the CST. And I was glad I had something to do, because if I was sitting at school all day, I was sitting at school all morning when I wasn't taking the CST, what was there for me to do? So the moral of the story is, if you accidentally show up to school early when you're not supposed to, always check if there's a classroom open, and then you can hang out there until school starts. Or you always can double check your schedule for school to make sure your class starts later. So the best you can just do is sorry, I'm getting distracted by family text messages. Anyway, so you can just always hang out with everybody, hang out in another classroom if the teacher is okay with you hanging out in another classroom, or you could just go to the library and do some homework while you wait. But just make sure the library is open at your school before you decide to go there. Go there, and then you can hang out there until school starts, or you could help another classroom if a teacher is okay with it. So that was a story about how I accidentally showed up to school early when I wasn't taking the CST. I hope you guys, a math portion of the CST at school. I hope you guys enjoyed the story. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. I post every day of the week for a while, and I'll see you in another video soon. Bye. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, then make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel.